Yeah, it's me. I'm back. Welcome. And you might be wondering, what is it like to do a back-to-back? Don't worry. I went through the pain so you don't have to. So in this video, I'm going to tell you everything that I hated and loved about doing a back-to-back. Some little tips and tricks to help you navigate doing it back-to-back and what will make your life easier. Now let's start with the first one. That is this here. You see there's luggage here, right? There's luggage. There's also luggage here. Now, granted, this portion of the back-to-back, we're actually in two connecting staterooms, interiors, by the way. Prior, we were in a balcony, a spacious balcony. But if you have two adults and two kids, it's just might as well just take the spacious out of it. It's not very spacious because you had the couch, the pull-out couch, not like this. This is a little tiny thing, but you had the couch that was just obstructing your walkway, and you really had much less room. So then ultimately you could have your stateroom attendant raise it and then lower it, but that sucks as far as the accommodation. It's just really annoying. So my recommendation, if you're doing a back-to-back and you have more than two people, get either two connecting interiors, two connecting balconies, and do it that way because the space has been great. We have our room here, me and the wife, and then the kids have their own space right here. Now, here's one thing too about these connecting rooms. I'll definitely, let me close that door. I'm gonna tell you guys something about this. People say some of these cruise ships, they're like, oh man, you're gonna hear everything. I didn't get that sense in the balcony, but I do get that sense here in this interior. Now, I don't know if it's every interior or if it's just the connecting interior. Here's the thing. If there's no TV on in the opposite room or they got music on, they're gonna hear you. So if both rooms are just quiet, no TV's on, no music on, nothing, and you guys are having a loud conversation, they're gonna hear it through this door. So if you're booking something on Freedom of the Seas, do not book a room that is a connecting interior if you do not know the people on this other side or if they're not your kids on the other side. That's my warning. Heed that warning. I'm telling you right now. And if you want to see the tour of that balcony, go check out my embarkation day video of Freedom of the Seas and you can see that. Because check this out. With you having kids doing a back-to-back, or if you got more than 4 people, it is going to suck trying to navigate getting ready. Let's say you go on your shore excursion, you got to come back. Let's say your dining time's at like 5:45 or whatever, you have the early dining time. You have 4 people having to use one shower to get ready, which means that's going to take away the time that you're going to have at your port. So get those connecting rooms. You can get 2 people showering at the same time, which means you guys get quicker, you guys get ready much quicker. You guys see what I'm saying? Definitely do this. I learned this lesson in the back-to-back because on the first leg, and honestly, luckily it was 3 days, and luckily we were only at Coco Cay, so it was really more easier to navigate because, hey, coming back from Coco Cay is different than coming back from, let's say, a Nassau or just any other cruise port. Now, to go back to what I was talking about with booking a connecting stateroom or more than one stateroom, the other thing I don't like about a back-to-back is living out of luggage. See, you got luggage there, there's luggage there, and as you can see, there's luggage here. So, yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. Now, do I have another back-to-back? Yes, I do. I actually have one, a 4-night and a 5-night, September that goes in through October, Mariner of the Seas out of Galveston later this year. So if you're on that sailing, drop it in the comments below. I'd love to know. But about a back-to-back, and again, this goes back to that booking connecting rooms or booking the exact same room. I did not like having to pack up to get ready to go to another room. You see luggage there, luggage there. I didn't like the fact that we had to pack up so soon to go to another stateroom. It just made it feel really annoying. The process, and you guys know this, the process of just packing in general, it sucks. And I really didn't like the fact that we had to pack and get ready. It would have been much better if we could have just had the 7 days and we could really, truly unpack our luggage But that part of the back-to-back process, I did not like. But again, if you follow my warning before, you will not have the problem that I did, because of course I go through the problem so you guys don't have to. While we're on this subject, let me mention this. The size of the room, that could matter in a back-to-back for you, just depending on who you are and obviously how much money you're willing to spend and how you like to vacation. Because if you don't even want to do, let's say like, oh, I don't want to book 2 interiors, or I don't want to book 2 balconies because it's too expensive, or just whatever the case may be, hey, that's why they have those owner suites. That's why they have those classes of suites that are above the junior suites, to accommodate people like that, where, hey, you can get everyone in one cabin, if you want to call a suite a cabin, whatever, and you could have 1 bedroom or 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms, whatever the case may be. You could accommodate yourself that way. But on the back-to-back, if you have kids, again, I gotta harp on this, do not book anything below or don't book junior suite or below with more than 2 people. Don't do it. Do not book 1 room with more than 2 people. Did you hear me? Do not book 1 room with more than 2 people. I hope you guys got that. Please. As I sit here in the Windjammer, as you can see, I'm looking out onto the ocean. This is the best spot to come in the Windjammer. Do not sit at the front. When you come in and get your food, come straight to the back. Sit along these windows. It's just nothing but windows and windows and windows and windows and seats along, and you can look out onto this blue water. It's very, very wonderful. But one of the things I didn't like about doing a back-to-back on Freedom of the Seas is the lack of itinerary. So, as you know, there's 3 days and then there's 4 days. You're only going to go to 1 port on that day, and that's Coco Cay. Then on the second itinerary, you're going to go to 2 ports, Coco Cay and Nassau. Now, it can become a bit redundant, especially on the first time you go to Freedom or go to Coco Cay. You've done everything. Maybe you don't want to go back to Coco Cay again. It would be nice to go to a different island in the Bahamas, but that's beyond your control. That's the cruise, right? Because hey, it's a lot easier for them to do that itinerary. But for me, on doing the back-to-back on Freedom, that's one of the things that I didn't like. But again, that's nothing that the cruise company can fix. It just is what it is. So, and by it being is what it is, that's something that you just have to expect and don't get upset about it. But the lack of the itinerary can become redundant, because it would have been nice to go, Coco Cay, Nassau, and then who knows, maybe go to St. Thomas, maybe go to a different island or just a different country in general. So it is what it is. I don't know if y'all caught that, but my son says, when I said one of the worst things about doing the back-to-back, he said, bring the kids, which he's talking about himself. But I ain't gonna lie, he's kind of right, because we have a back-to-back booked through September through October later this year, and we were smart on that one, and we actually booked 2 connecting interiors back to back in the exact same cabin. So he's right, actually. I'm gonna predict the future. He's right about that. As I sit over here, deck 4.5, this is actually the chef's table experience right here. See the nice mural in the main dining area. The one thing that I didn't particularly like about the back-to-back process, it kind of goes hand in hand with the itinerary, but it's the redundant daily planning. So this is one of those things where it just is what it is with booking a back-to-back cruise. You have no choice, because there's only so much they can do on these ships when you're doing 3 and 4 night sailings. And especially depending on the size of the ship. Freedom, it's a decent sized ship, bigger than Vision, smaller than Oasis class, but the itineraries, the daily planner, it can become redundant, because if you see all the shows in your 3-day portion, you may be tapped out when it comes to the 4-day portion. Now, of course, they do release stuff in the 4-day portion that was not released in the 3-day, which is great. But then again, you will see everything. Like it kind of makes certain things a little bit like I'm a little bit bored because I saw everything already. Because here's the thing: one of the good and bad things just about the ship in general, not just the back-to-back stuff, is they have a lot of stuff for everyone. So they have the Bolero's, Schooner Bar, you know, the R Bar, the Bear and Bull and Bear, whatever that place is. They have vintages. They have all these different spots for people to go to. So it can accommodate most people for what they like to do. But if you like to watch the shows and the entertainment and it can become a bit redundant doing a back-to-back. Now, of course, if you, let's say, go on an Oasis class ship or above on a 7-day itinerary, oh yeah, you're going to be entertained plentiful because they have tons of entertainment going on. So that's one of the things I did not like about this back-to-back process. Now, if you do choose to do a back-to-back, I would say, hey, you know, because especially if the itineraries are redundant or seeing how they could become redundant, book a bigger class ship. That's my piece of advice. As you see here, I'm on deck 4 level of the Royal Theater. And you can see the stage is right there in the background. And down there is the lower deck. And I'm going to share with you this one thing I didn't like about the back-to-back process. And that is the weekend cruisers versus the weekday cruisers. Now, I noticed this and I talked to a guy in the first leg of the back-to-back and he was saying, just watch. The weekday crowd is going to be totally different and there's going to be less Latinos. He was right. The weekend crowd, rowdy, rough, rugged, like all the common areas, like the Schooner Bar, the R Bar, Bolero's, the vintages, all those little places on the promenade, they were packed with the weekend crowd. The weekend crowd, they were like packing out every single venue. And it was rowdy. The nightclub was lit like a mug. And the party was just going all day. I mean, these people, they were out well after midnight. The promenade was busy. Unlike the weekday crowd, where a lot of the public areas are not that busy. The promenade at midnight is a ghost town. The nightclub is good, but not as good as the weekend crowd. And yeah, it's a lot more kids, a lot more white people, Asian people, a lot less turn up, a lot of older people, and just totally different vibe on the pool deck. It's totally different vibe, like a lot of different places. Crazy Quest during the weekend cruise was absolutely bananas. There was a packed house. During the weekday crowd, they actually had to bring sections in together because there was so much empty space. So yeah, the vibe is totally different. Now, if you're a cruiser who doesn't care and you're like, hey, I'll just like to cruise and I'll just take my vacations I'll just take it however I can get it. Fine, you could just ignore me and just keep cruising. But if you don't like to turn up and you don't like to do all the crazy stuff, stay away from a weekend cruise. Stay far away. If you just want to chill and just get away and have some privacy, be quiet and not too rowdy, no. Don't go on a weekend cruise. Trust me, do not go on a weekend cruise. Go during the weekday or do a 7+ night sailing, like a 5-7+ night sailing. That tends to wean off the weekend crowd and you get a lot less rowdiness. So that's one thing that with the back-to-back, I would say that I liked it and I didn't like it, because some aspects of the weekend cruisers I don't like, but then some aspects of the weekend cruisers I do like. And then when it comes to the weekday cruisers, it's the same. Some things I like and then some things I don't. So it's like you kind of got to take the good with the bad and just accept it for what it is. But nevertheless, like a good experience, but definitely would I ever just do a weekend cruise again? Look, guys, I'm 43, about to be 44 this year. No, it's not my type of vibe, and I'm not even single. And that's another funny thing. We're not even gonna go into that. But yeah, that's one of the things that I didn't like. All right, I'm out here on the Olive and Twist on the 14th deck. Not quite the highest on Freedom. There's actually one above where the chapel it still is there, but I mean, they don't call it the chapel anymore, but if you go up there, it looks like a chapel. It has all the remnants. Here's another thing I didn't like about the back-to-back process, and this was the 4-day leg of the trip, and that was back-to-back port days. Me personally, I am not a fan of back-to-back port days. I have experienced it and I do not like it. I actually would much rather have a sea day, port day, sea day, port day. That way that sea day, I can recover from the port day, because I'm not sure about you, but I know myself, when I'm on the ports, I'm shooting a lot of content, I'm busy, I'm doing stuff, I'm out and about, I'm shaking and moving, and I get quite tired after coming off of a port day. And to think that you actually have to wake up and do that again the next evening, it kind of kills your evening, because you kind of want to pack it in a little bit early, because some of these ports, especially if they're an exciting port you've never been to, you want to get out there and experience the whole thing and use most of your time on that port day in the port, or exploring wherever you want to go, especially if you want to go maybe 30 minutes, an hour away from the port, you can do that. But this, I'm going to be honest, this back-to-back port day thing, not a fan. Coco Cay was great. It wore me out. And then I had to wake up and do it in Nassau. And we didn't even leave to get off the ship on Nassau to like 11 or so, something like that. So, and I mean, the gangway opened at 8:30. So imagine that, we didn't have enough time. We really did have enough time, but I would have liked to really leave the port a little bit earlier so I could have more options to do other things. So let me know in the comments. I'm actually curious if you guys have experienced back-to-back port days, and what's your opinion on it? Like, do you like it or love it or hate it? Let me know in the comments below.